second overtime loss of the season. Now look, Janae, he is so much fun to watch in these games, but how long do we think Kyrie Irving can really keep up the pace of this?
I don't think he's going to be averaging 37 points per game the whole season, but I do think that killer Kyrie that highlights Kyrie is back. Just seeing like the reverse layup he hit with his crazy bounce. This has you, gotcha. Like this is so much fun to see him operate in space, and I was wondering, why does he feel like he has new life? I think this is the first team where he knows he's alpha. Meaning in Cleveland, he played with LeBron. In Boston, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford.
Still the star
He was
on
alpha,
the poster there.
but the mindset of his teammates were like, I'm alpha too.
Right.
This is the first team where he knows he's number one option and no one else questions it. That's why you're seeing him erupt for 50. I think those game-winning shots will start to go down even more as he explores his game. But right now, Kyrie Irving is back, and it's fun, especially with the highlights.
I feel like I've seen some of those shots before, and I feel like I've seen some of these stats before. I mean, Kyrie's averaging 37, but how many shots is he taking to every game?
There's a lot.
Is this reminding you a little of like Pete Kobe? Of like Kobe on the team where he just went for 50 every night because he kind of had to, right? Like taking 26 field goal attempts a game, I think that's high. That's high. That's Kobe Bryant kind of territory, and that is a guy who grew up watching. That is a guy that he grew up emulating. High usage rate. I don't know if the Nets are going to want to play this way the whole time.
That was my question, right? Because there's certain times, certainly during Pete Kobe, as you say, where we know he felt he had to take all the shots. There were points last season where James Harden, they had so many injuries on that team. His usage rate was incredibly high, and then even once they got people back, obviously, we know how that whole season played out. The Nets culture that Kyrie Irving came to was a little bit more of a collective together kumbaya culture. Now, D'Angelo Russell obviously had a great season. They're trying to integrate Karis LeVert back into there. I am curious how they want to play going forward, but I do think you're right that even in Kenny Atkinson's wildest dreams of team concept, Kyrie is still the alpha, right? He's still the guy who can go get you the shot. He can go lead the team. And it's exciting for their fans, too, right, to have a guy like this. I've had so much fun watching him just as a League Pass viewer. So someone who isn't getting their shots taken away from them, I'm happy he's doing it. And we'll have to see how everybody else feels. I want to talk about the flip side, though, of yesterday's game, because against the Nets, Ja Morant was great on Sunday. 30 points, 9 assists. Clutch down the stretch, made the really smart play that ended up leading to the shot that won the game. But also, we have undrafted Kendrick Nunn you're watching highlights of because he has been the surprise rookie so far. He is leading the Heat in scoring with Jimmy Butler still out. So, Ramona, which rookie had the more impressive debut week?
Okay, so I usually root for the story.
Yes.
And obviously, Nunn is the better story here because none of us thought that was going to be the guy. If anything, you thought Tyler Hero was going to be the guy, right?
Yeah.
In Miami. So that's the better story. But Ja Morant has been unbelievable. I mean, and I'm feeling pretty good about that Rookie of the Year pick right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Nunn, but I do like Ja just a little bit more because we sort of expected the Heat to make some waves, no pun intended, Nunn, no pun intended, in the Eastern Conference. But we didn't expect this from Memphis. And I really like this team. And it's all the Jays. You see the shot from Jay Crowder. I like Jaren Jackson Jr. And I like Ja Morant. And Ja Morant, what he's able to do, to be a point guard and score, but also give the assist of the night. He just has so much. It seems like he plays with experience and poise, and this is just game, 2-3 for him.
This is very impressive core rebuilding for Memphis, right? Considering how reluctant they were to let go of sort of the last wisps of grit and grind because they don't historically attract free agents, right? And they want to keep their fan base, TV contracts, all of that kind of stuff. They are a fun, exciting team to watch. And it is one more team in the West where there's not a night off against, right? I mean, we're just seeing the Suns beat the Clippers yesterday. There is not a team right now in the West where I can say, easy W, right? And the fact that Memphis has become a team you can't say that against either is impressive. We'll see how long it lasts. You've got a lot of young players there who might start to hit that wall, but fun to watch right now. Coming up, let's talk about another youngster making noise. Trae Young leading the league in scoring. He got a tough challenge versus the Sixers tonight. So is it too soon for Ice Trae to be dubbed, we think he's going to be an East All-Star? Someone in the newsroom wanted to make him an MVP this morning. I am not going to tell tales on who it is, but
name them.
You know who you are, producer Jesse.
First,
7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN and the app. And now it's crunch time on The Jump. Welcome to the NBA Taco Fall. Chance of "We want Taco" by the MSG crowd were answered with 4 minutes left in the game this weekend. Taco was 2 for 4 in his debut. Okay. I'm supposed to ask you guys when the Taco excitement will wear off, but it's not going to.
It's not going
because
anywhere.
he's amazing.
I mean, you still get excited when Boban is out there playing.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yes. And he's tall and all of the things he is physically, but his joy for the game tonight.
Yeah, and he's
really
a two-way
happy.
player, so like you got to celebrate every time he gets meaningful NBA minutes.
And he laid that in. He
didn't leave his
dunk
feet
it. Yeah.
at all. Russell Westbrook passing Magic Johnson on the all-time triple-double list Saturday. Russ had 28, 10, and 13 in the win over the Pelicans. Now he still trails Oscar by 42 for the career mark, but man, he's on him. Today, do you still think Westbrook's triple-double pace will slow down in Houston?
No.
Or do you think like this is what we're going to see from him?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll average a triple-double, but what I really like about this, like seeing that he's number 2 now, is that it's like a pinch me moment. Like this man will be the all-time leader in triple-doubles by the time he's done. So now celebrate it, enjoy it, because he's normalized the triple-double. It's wild.
Yeah.
So I always thought his triple doubles would continue in Houston because he's never been surrounded with shooters like he is there, and those guys actually make it. The only thing I wonder is
the
the
rebounds.
The assistant rebound.
Well, he's not necessarily going to get every rebound.
Yeah, he didn't have Steven Adams to get out of the way
before. I mean, the points issue part isn't under his control. I mean, the thing in Oklahoma City is that every part of that box score was pretty much under Russell Westbrook's control because everybody on the team deferred to him, as they should have for his place on the team last season. That is not going to be the case this season, but I think we're still going to see a lot from him, so we'll see how it goes. I want to get to a controversial ending from the Blazers-Mavs game last night. This was inside the final 10 seconds of the game. The Mavs were down 1. Dame Lillard called for a foul on Dorian Finney-Smith, which would have led to 2 free throws, giving the Mavs the opportunity to take a lead. However, Terry Stotts challenged the play, and the challenge was successful. It led to a jump ball at midcourt. Kristaps Porzingis, look here, accidentally tapping the ball to Portland, and they held on for the win. Now, after the game, Mark Cuban expressed frustration on Twitter, quote, "I'm a fan of the NBA challenge rule, but if a play is overturned and they don't show the replay that justifies overturning a call along with an explanation, it's going to have real problems. From the angles we saw in the arena, it looked like a clean strip, but body contact first." He continued, "Fans in our arena have no idea why the foul was overturned." And then he responded to the official NBA ref Twitter account, "How can a judgment that was body contact deemed marginal be considered clear and conclusive? If it were clear and conclusive, nothing would have to be deemed. Correct?" So Mark Cuban has all kinds of energy. CJ McCollum had a little bit of energy responding to Cuban with this: "Good defense, clean strip. Review worked in our favor tonight. I'm sure it'll come back around from y'all." So, look, Janae, how do you feel about Mark Cuban? Multiple tweets, including at the refs after the game, which, I mean, why should anything be different on Twitter than in real life?
You know, I'm not mad at this. I like this. I like this engagement because the NBA has been the best professional league at being transparent with their calls. So why make a Twitter account where you can't have dialogue? Like, that's the whole point of it. And I do like the coaches challenge as well because, you know, the worst case scenario is sitting in the locker room like, well, man, if they got this and they got that. Well, you actually have an ability, and I like saving it to the end. You have an ability to really make sure that the game is going down the way it should go down. Now, again, the ball bounces both ways, so yeah, I'm sure it'll come back in the Mavs' favor at some
I'm
point.
fine with Mark's first point, too, that they could show it and explain things to fans in the arena, because I'm sure those fans are wondering what happened, right? And the people at home are going to see things that they're not going to see. But I actually like the coaches challenge, too, and I love this one because Terry Stotts said after the game, I was reading in Tim McMahon's story about this, he said, you know, I've said to my players, when we have a coaches challenge, you have to be honest with me, okay? Everybody thinks that they didn't foul.
Thinks they fouled.
I didn't foul.
Good
But he
luck.
said, if I'm going to use that challenge, you had better tell me the truth. And Dame Lillard said, telling you the truth, I didn't foul.
I got it clean.
And afterwards, all Dame wanted to talk about it. See, I told you I didn't foul. I love that.
I am curious, by the way, is Mark Cuban talked to his own in-game arena video crew, right? Because if those replays are available on TV, maybe they could show them more in the arena. I know sometimes teams are a little reluctant to show fans a challenge or something they don't win, right? So, or a foul that they didn't. So we'll see what happens there. I want to get to our League Pass game of the night. Features 2 undefeated teams, the Sixers and the Hawks. Joel Embiid listed as questionable after missing Saturday's game with a sprained right ankle. And on the other side, Trae Young, the newly named Eastern Conference Player of the Week, looks to continue his scoring binge he's been on early this season. He is leading the NBA, 38.5 points per game in the early going. Producer Jesse was like, is he the lead All-Star MVP candidate? I was like, let's have a discussion about All-Star. I'm not sure anybody is the lead MVP candidate 2 or 3 games in, but how do you feel about an All-Star spot in the East?
Yeah, in the East. I mean,
there's still good players in the East.
There's still good players in the East, but I was always pretty bullish on the Hawks this year because I think they've done things right. This is what happens when you don't just outright tank.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that they competed at the end of last year, that they didn't just go and try to bottom out because they wanted their young players to compete and to try to win games. And yeah, they ended up with a higher draft pick, but then they ended up trading down into the top 5 again.
In all MVP conversation fairness, we start the list week 1, week 2, week 3, but I do
not start the list.
No, we do make the list. NBA.com their list, but I buy Trae Young as an All-Star because all he has to do is get them past 29 wins, which is looking like they could be on pace for this year. So if they win more and he continues at this pace, I'm all in.
I think that would be a great story if he's able to make the All-Star game by midseason. We don't have to. The MVP list does not start yet. Everyone just hold their horses, please. I don't know. This is just
People go click on it, Rach.
at the buzzer at the top.